Morning everybody, it's Chris here from Serene Education with the 4 Majors Analysis Update for the 22nd of March 2011. I just pulled up the daily time frame and you can see how the Euro yesterday started quite in a consolidating range, and then during the course of the latter part of the European and into the US session we saw price move further, breaking a previous high above 1420 and closing slightly higher than the Asian markets. Literally indecisive, but still taking it forward slightly. Obviously what we want to do is see price trading higher than yesterday's high at 142400 to see further gains to the upside. If price can find support to this area, then we can definitely see a bit of consolidation around the 1429-ish area, and then further upside to that. So I'll pull this back to a weekly chart. You can see that this little spike higher here is on a previous support area and resistance in the past, so you could see a bit of consolidation taking place here. Otherwise you can see that price is now trading well above all the moving averages on a weekly chart, so very bullish. And if you look at where price started initially down the bottom, and I'm just doing a fib projection, you notice that the 100% is at around about 1445.50, and then ultimately way up here at the previous back in November of 2010 is the 1505 area. So you could see good extensions to the upside. So drop it back down to a daily. Let's have a look intraday. Okay, so as that stands, I'll move to a 30-minute chart. You can see that CTC is well extended into the blue range, and you'll notice that price has pretty much gone sideways. And Asian market trading as we speak now, going to the US session, European session open. We can see we're testing those highs again, roughly around the 1423 mark. So closing higher, we'll definitely see a breakout of a little consolidation band. Notice that we've had higher swings as price has been going sideways, which is a good sign. So a little breakout here. You can see we come from a low point and we are really extending higher, higher and higher. So CTC is definitely moving higher. Just be aware though that there's a good possibility, possibly of consolidation take place, primarily because we've got that area of resistance from a previous support area and on a daily. So factor that in, but as things stand, should be looking for further extensions to the upside. There's clear break above 142300. Close higher than that would definitely see further extensions to the upside. You can see we, as I mentioned on a 30-minute, we've got higher highs. The swings are still going higher as we've gone into trading through the Asian session. Now we're trading higher. So a nice break above that would definitely see further extensions to the upside. In terms of news today, let's have a quick look at that just to confirm what we have. Let's have a look. News today. Let's have a look. Euro wise, nothing on euro, so pretty quiet on the European side. So all we need to see is a break, definitely higher than 142300, and then a close higher than that area would definitely see further extensions to the upside. Okay guys, that's it for euro against US dollar. I'll be back next with the sterling against US. Next up is the sterling against US dollar. So I'm looking at the daily time frame. Pairs also was able to gain a lot of momentum yesterday after initial bounce up to 1600 recently, and now testing the previous high for this pair at 16324 area. Okay, so it needs to be trading higher than that. You can see that we had a prior one, and if I go to a weekly chart, for example, price is testing a prior resistance on a number of fronts, so quite a strong resistance level. So could we expect to see a bit of consolidation for this pair? Might very well see one. Let's have a look at the 5-day analysis chart. Yeah, you can see it quite clearly. Resistance, support, support, resistance, support, resistance, resistance, resistance. So clearly an area where we are seeing some definite support and resistance. So bear that in mind. The last thing you want to do is be trading and there's clear resistance on either front. So we have resistance plus the top end of a channel. So take that into effect. We'll break above that. We'll definitely be trading on higher ground, and then you could definitely be looking at possible target areas of around the 1665 to start with, and then 1668, and then back up here to where the 1700 mark is and the 200 period moving average. That's on a 5-day chart. So back to a daily. Ideally we want to be trading well above 16,3500 going into the latter part of this week. So hesitation. Let's have a look at intraday. You can see that clearly on the 30 minutes. Price is now hit a brick wall, and we're moving sideways. So clearly indecision, well, consolidation at 1631.50, and you can see noticeably that price has just been moving in a box in this range. So you definitely want to see a breakout of that box either side. Notice still trading above all the moving averages, sort of positive sign. And the momentum upswing is now going to be in play, regardless of this breakout, fake breakout. So the more touches, the stronger the confirmation that signals, and that's what we have it at. And we should see some sort of clear route of passage soon, as the trend line comes into play, and the resistance level on the top also comes into play. So we are at a crossroads. This is a 30-minute chart, guys. CTC is extended, so we expect further upside movement. Failure to break and close above 163200 would see price just rolling over, and then we should be looking for opportunities to the downside. That's it on sterling. I'll be back next with the US dollar against Swiss franc. Okay, next up is the US dollar against the Swiss franc, and you can see that the pair has pulled back slightly in the past couple of days. Some are still way below the breakout area that we saw back on the 9.93500 mark, but you can see that the downtrend is now in play, and effectively what we're seeing now, if I just do a fib retracement, is the 23.6% area being tested as we speak. We've got 38.2 at just over the 910 mark, 50% back up to the moving average at 915. So on a daily time frame, you can see that the pair, just on this trend alone, that's where the line is at the moment. Now if I do a fib projection from the top to the point of 61.8, it's also in play, so take that into effect, guys. But we're seeing consolidation now to the upside. You can go right back up to the trend line, in this case up to the 915 mark. We'd see pair pulling back significantly. Let's have a look at the 5-day range of this. There you have it. So trading well below the previous breakout, and price very much to the downside. Let's have a look at our intraday charts. So consolidation You can see that taking place. Swings are slightly higher. And you'll notice that these are slightly, the 20 period moving average acting as a resistance level on a 4-hour chart. Okay, so price is pretty much moving sideways, consolidating. Will we see a bounce, a squeeze? Notice that price action is still to the downside, however. Okay, so just be aware of that. On 30-minute chart, you can see a lot of indecision now, but the 200 period moving average acting as a ceiling level on a 30-minute chart. Price is failing to break above the ceiling and pushing price lower, and by pushing price lower, it's confirming that the trend is still negative, and we should be looking for further selling opportunities. Be aware that we have a nice support that it bounced on prior at this time level. There we go, and the 200 period moving average acting as a resistance level on the top side of that. So we effectively have a squeeze pattern occurring, and we need to see a breakout of that squeeze. Where is it likely to go to, guys? Now, this is what we've got to look out for as we reattempt another attempt at the downtrend. Notice how the 200 period moving average is now pulling lower, so you can see that the momentum is starting to push lower. We need to see a close lower than 0.9015 to see further downside extensions. If you want to see a break and trading higher, then we need to see the 200 period moving average breached at 0.9045 to start with, and then ideally trading above all this noise here at that area, or even better here. Okay, so got to wait to see what happens. We could see a bounce off this 200 period moving average to the downside, because remember, we are in a negative trend. This is just a consolidation band on a 30-minute time frame, but the trend is still negative. That's it for US dollar Swiss franc. I'll be back next with the last pair of the day, the US dollar against Japanese yen. Take care. Okay, into the last pair for the 22nd of March, the US dollar against Japanese yen. Have a look at the daily time frame. You'll notice how after the intervention of the Japanese government, we saw the US dollar gain strength against the yen pair, and we've seen a number of days of consolidation due to that. We're still a way away from the initial breakout for this pair, and I'm just putting in the support and resistance lines for this. There we go, so you can see them. Okay, so as we've gone higher, as we progressed higher on the intervention, you'll notice that the ranges have got smaller, and the trading is occurring more at the bottom of the wicks, confirming a bit of consolidation is taking place, and that's coming around the 81.50 mark, but on prior support in the past. So we could see a bit of consolidation. If we notice that the CTC is still to the downside, the last two swings are still well above us. So failure to break, well, at least this major trend line here, the support trend, and the other trends, the intermediate trend, would definitely see further extension to the downside. Remember, we're still governed by a negative trend, so we should still be looking for shorting opportunities. And you can see the momentum is starting to change slightly. There's a bit of a consolidation, there's more selling coming into it on the daily as we creep closer to an 81.50 mark. Intraday, on the 4 hour, you can see that consolidation taking place, and by doing so, forming lower swings. So as it stands now, momentum is shifting in terms of from buying to selling, and we're getting lower swings. Okay, that's driving the CTC down by that intervention. So hourly, notice the 200 period moving average acting as a resistance level for this pair. 30 minutes consolidation. Notice that we're getting lower highs, as time has progressed since the intervention. So take that into effect, guys. If we're seeing downside movement, then we should be looking for possible breaks of the downside. On our 4 hour, for example, the 50 period moving average, which is the 200 period moving average on an hourly chart, acting as a clear resistance level, needs to break higher than that, ideally above 81.50 to be looking stronger. But then when we break 81.50 on our daily, then we're trading against the underside of this major trend, support trend. Just be aware of that. Okay? Just be aware of that. So that's it for today. Hope you have a fantastic trading day. As I mentioned, each day make sure that you look for your opportunities. Use the strategy template for exactly what it is. It's a template. It's going to give you a heads up, and utilize it to the best. Make sure you take your clear profits when they present themselves. Make sure your money management is always in favor. And most importantly, trade serenely.